indicates how stressful you are or not stressful, and your respiratory rate, so how you are breathing. You can play the sound of the heart if you like. It's a nice sound, nice and healthy. It's going currently at 90 beats per minute. You can stop that. You can actually do an easier task, which is essentially, it's meant to be playing calm music as well. Anyway, this task here, you're meant to do it while listening to some calm music in this one. And you're doing this memory task where you have to hit yes or no if you can remember the sequence of the letters. So if we have K, Y, T, they're meant to actually start repeating. They're not meant to be totally random. I think they are, which is bizarre, because if you keep hitting no, you'll always be getting a high score. And then you have another task where you actually do exciting music, and then you have two variations for music: calm music, exciting music. Then you have also two variations for the complexity of the memory task. Here you have to memorize one letter before or three letters back, which obviously makes it much more complicated. So, and then this is also just a simulation, so you're not. So once you're running that, the heart rate in theory should go higher. It actually didn't. And the stress level should go higher. So we get this EDA level of 1 point something. And if we stop that and we go to a more easier task, so calm music and one back memory test, then the heart rate goes low, EDA goes lower. So you're becoming less stressed, heart rhythm drops a bit because it's not as stressed, and breath rate is 14 breaths per minute, which is, if you make exciting music 3 back, it's actually increasing to 19 or 20. I don't know what's up with the noise there. It comes up with noise, but then it's actually simulating a more realistic experiment. Okay, so we reviewed this already by Notebook LM. We'll be making changes to this description at the bottom of the page. You can go check out this tool yourself, provide feedback. It's essentially measuring mental workload, music effects on and psychological responses, biofeedback in medicine, who, when, why, and how. Such a bad title. It's a paper. How physiology affects mental health. Well, Electrodermal activity. That's that measurement. It's that blue line there, which we are simulating in this case. So essentially, if the task becoming easier, then the electrodermal activity of the skin reduces. Sinus arrhythmia. Let's show the neurophysiology of stress response. It will add them to the chat. Now we have 11 sources, including our code. So I did my PhD in psychophysiology, which is a fancy term for behavioral study, which is essentially what YouTube is. So currently, YouTube is running a giant behavioral study on you, the viewer.
Our minds and bodies are just deeply intertwined.
Absolutely.
For centuries, especially in Western thought, there was this strong tendency to separate the mind over matter, that kind of thing.
Right. The Cartesian split.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But recent science, and it's even drawing on insights from, ancient Eastern traditions, is powerfully demonstrating just how much our movement, our physical state, impacts our cognitive and emotional lives.
And it's striking how diverse the studies are that reinforce this. I mean, take neurological rehabilitation. We see that simply adding aerobic physical exercise.
Just basic exercise.
Yeah, just aerobic exercise leads to stronger improvements in attention and cognitive functioning for post-stroke patients, stronger than, say, more complex dual-task interventions. So movement isn't just physical recovery, it's central to brain recovery.
And it's not just about recovery, is it? I was fascinated by this idea, like, being able to better predict an opponent's actions in a sport just because you play that sport.
Embodied cognition.
Right. So sailors, for instance, they actually outperformed tennis players and non-sports people in predicting sailing maneuvers.
Makes sense.
The thinking is their brains activate specific motor representations. It's almost like their bodies are thinking for them, informing their predictions.
Which really raises that important question. How else does movement subtly affect our psychological state? I mean, there's research on Kathak dancers found they experienced lower stress and fewer symptoms of depression and anxiety compared to non-dancers. Even simple things like mindful breathing that can reduce muscle tension. And slow breathing, specifically, seems to improve executive functions like inhibition.
That's practical. And for anyone who's ever faced, public speaking anxiety, which is pretty much everyone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here's a powerful application. There's this program called the Corp Oral Program. It uses body awareness, visualization, gesture techniques to significantly reduce anxiety. Studies showed actual decreases in physiological responses, like heart rate, and even measurable changes in brain activity, indicating less avoidance. You're literally changing your brain through your body.
And we see it in creative experiences, too, like kids who just freely played with sand or clay, later rated artworks made of those same materials more positively. It suggests our aesthetic sense, what we find pleasing, is deeply rooted in that sensory-motor engagement, how our senses and movements interact with stuff.
Interesting.
There's even a new scale, the Multidimensional Impacts of Movement Scale, MIMS. It combines ancient yogic ideas with modern neuroscience to measure the broad benefits of movement physically and psychologically. All these examples just underscore it. Our physical state is absolutely fundamental to our cognitive and emotional capabilities.
Okay, so if our physical state is so fundamental, what does this mean for how we actually learn things? For a long time, the big theory in education has been cognitive load theory, CLT. Can you break that down for us? What's CLT all about?
Sure. So in essence, CLT focuses on a core idea. Our working memory, the mental space where we actively process information, has very limited capacity.
Right. You can only juggle so much at once.
Exactly. And CLT identifies 3 types of cognitive load. First, there's intrinsic load. That's just the inherent difficulty of the material itself. Like learning quantum physics is intrinsically harder than learning basic addition. Second, extraneous load. This is the bad stuff. It comes from unnecessary demands due to poor instructional design, confusing layouts, irrelevant information, that sort of thing. And finally, germane load. This is the good stuff. It's the productive mental effort involved in actually processing and understanding new information deeply, making connections, building those schemas in your long-term memory.
Right.
So the main goal of traditional CLT is to reduce that extraneous load, the unnecessary stuff, so learners can focus their limited mental energy on germane processing, on the actual learning.
We've all been there with extraneous load, haven't we? Like that presentation slide crammed with text while the speaker is also talking over it.
Oh, absolutely. The split attention effect.
Yeah. Or just pure redundancy. CLT suggests simple fixes, right? Like using audio narration with visuals instead of just slapping text on the screen.
Yeah.
That can improve retention.
Exactly. Minimizing distractions, structuring information logically. These things can dramatically enhance cognitive efficiency, how well our brains process information. But, and this is a big but, a key challenge or maybe limitation of traditional CLT, as some studies point out, is its potential overemphasis on just reducing load.
How so?
Well, if you reduce load too much, you might actually limit engagement with complex tasks. Or it can lead to this one-size-fits-all approach to learning pace, assuming everyone benefits from the same level of simplification.
Oh, okay.
So that raises the crucial question, doesn't it? How do we move beyond just reducing load to actually optimizing it for deeper, more personalized learning?
That's exactly right. If one-size-fits-all is the problem, how do we get to real personalization? And this, I guess, is where AI and educational neuroscience really step in.
Precisely. They offer some incredible solutions, stepping in to redefine learning efficacy and address some of those limitations we just talked about.
So how does that work?
Well, connecting this to the bigger picture, AI and machine learning are fundamentally changing education. They enable systems that can automatically manage cognitive load, provide truly personalized instruction, and adapt learning pathways dynamically for you.
Okay, it sounds like science fiction, honestly. How do these AI systems know when and how to adjust things for a specific person? What's the secret sauce?
It's largely thanks to real-time neurophysiological data. We're talking about tools like EEG electroencephalography, which listens to your brain's electrical activity.
Right, the brain waves.
Exactly. And fNIRS and functional near-infrared spectroscopy, which measures changes in blood flow in the brain, showing which parts are active.
Okay.
These tools capture real-time brain activity, feeding data to AI models that can then adapt instructional strategies, like on the fly. For instance, systems can look for a specific brain signal called the P300.
P300.
Yeah, it's an electrical spike that happens when your brain registers something significant or surprising. It gives us a direct window into how you're reacting, how your cognitive load is changing. And the detection accuracy for these things has become incredibly reliable. We're talking high sensitivity and specificity in studies.
So wait, the AI is literally reading your brain signals to optimize how you learn. That's kind of mind-boggling.
In a sense, yes, precisely. It allows for these dynamic adjustments in task difficulty. The goal is to keep you in your optimal challenge zone, not bored, not overwhelmed.
The sweet spot.
The sweet spot. And it goes beyond just brain activity. These multimodal approaches combine data from EEG with other signals, fMRI, which gives a more detailed picture of brain activity, ECG for heart activity, and GSR, galvanic skin response.
We'll come back to those.
Right. Fusing all this data makes the system much more robust. It helps mitigate, signal variability and noise. And we've seen cognitive state detection accuracy improve dramatically. Sensitivity jumped from around maybe 0.75 back in 2015 to about 0.95 now in 2024.
95%. That's a huge leap in precision.
It really is. It means these systems are getting incredibly good at understanding your cognitive state, moving us away from guesswork towards truly data-driven learning adjustments.
Okay, so what about those other physiological signals you mentioned? Heart rate, skin response, you said they correlate.
Yeah, what's really compelling here is how these different measures often tell a similar story. EEG and fNIRS, for instance, show a strong correlation around RCRs over 0.78 in some studies, which suggests they're providing complementary information about neural activity. Similarly, heart rate variability, HRV, and electrodermal activity, EDA or GSR, they also show a high positive correlation, maybe around RFLA 0.76.
So heart patterns and skin response are linked.
Often, yes. And these non-invasive measures let the AI monitor your affective states, your emotions, your stress levels during learning. So if you start getting frustrated or overwhelmed, the system can potentially pick up on those subtle physiological cues.
So what does this hyper-personalization actually look like for me, the learner, in practice?
Well, these AI-driven adaptive systems use sophisticated deep learning models. You hear terms like CNNs, convolutional neural networks, and RNNs, recurrent neural networks.
Like the AI brains.
Sort of, yeah. They analyze your learning behaviors, your responses, everything, and tailor the instruction. For example, studies show optimal video playback speed isn't the same for everyone.
Really?
Yeah, high-level learners might do best at 1.5x speed, while others excel at 1.25x. AI can figure that out for you and adjust it automatically. And here's a really striking example. In surgical skills training, an AI tutor led to significantly higher performance improvements compared to human instruction by just the 5th repetition.
Wow, better than a human tutor.
In that specific context, for that skill progression, yes. Think about what that means for accelerating skill acquisition in really complex fields.
So the AI is adapting the content, the pace, even the difficulty, all tailored to my unique needs in real time, based on how my brain and body are responding.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental shift.
It really is. It ensures your cognitive resources are used as efficiently as possible. It selects appropriately structured materials. And importantly, it can help eliminate unconscious biases that human authors or instructors might introduce.
Right.
This dynamic adjustment aims to boost engagement, improve knowledge retention, cut down on cognitive overload, and ultimately significantly improve learning efficacy.
This sounds incredibly powerful. Transformative even.
Yeah.
But does it mean we just, throw out other learning approaches that we know are valuable?
No, not at all. That's a great point. If you look at the broader picture, the research review really highlights an integrative approach. It's about combining the strengths of CLT with other proven methods like self-regulated learning, SRL, and problem-based learning, PBL, all within these new AI-driven environments. So while CLT is fantastic for optimizing efficiency, reducing that extraneous load, SRL focuses more on learner autonomy, on metacognitive awareness, your ability to understand and manage your own learning process.
Which is crucial. So how does AI help with that, with self-regulation?
AI-enhanced learning analytics can track how engaged you are, identify patterns, and provide personalized feedback specifically designed to help you optimize your self-regulation strategies.
Like a smart coach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For instance, there are robotics-driven SRL programs that have shown improvements in things like reading accuracy and even visual constructive abilities, like putting things together visually, by around 19%.
19%, that's significant.
It is. And this improvement is maximized when learners have control over their pacing, which, as we mentioned, can be a limitation of pure CLT models. AI empowers you to take charge, but with smart guidance.
Okay, and what about problem-based learning, PBL? That always sounds like it could be pretty high load, especially at the beginning, tackling complex problems.
It absolutely can be. PBL is great for fostering real-world problem-solving, critical thinking. But yes, its intrinsic cognitive load can be significantly higher.
So how does AI help there?
This is where AI-driven scaffolding comes in. Think of it like providing temporary support structures. And AI can also offer problem-solving recommendation engines. These tools help moderate that high load without taking away the challenge.
Okay.
The review found that AI-driven PBL models, particularly in fields like medicine and STEM, enhanced problem-solving efficiency by about 18% and the ability to apply concepts by 22%.
So it makes PBL more manageable.
Exactly. AI can effectively bridge CLT's focus on efficiency with PBL's focus on complex, real-world application. It makes challenging learning more accessible and ultimately more effective.
To really grasp how AI can be so precise, let's zoom back in on those subtle signals from your body. We touched on heart rate variability and electrodermal activity. How do these specific markers give AI such critical insights in learning situations?
Right. So heart rate variability, HRV, is a really interesting one. It's seen as a reliable and, importantly, convenient way to assess your autonomic function.
Your body's background operating system.
Kind of, yeah. It manages things like breathing, heart rate, digestion, all automatically. And longitudinal studies consistently show that higher activity in your parasympathetic nervous system, the PNS, often called the rest and digest system, is associated with better cognition.
Better cognition. So why is that? Why does being more rest and digest help thinking?
Well, it seems to be more nuanced than just feeling generally relaxed, although that helps. The PNS actively helps reduce blood pressure and promotes cerebral vasodilation, meaning it helps widen the blood vessels in your brain, improving blood flow. Think of it as opening up the highways for more oxygen and nutrients to reach your brain cells. This likely diminishes the chance of subtle damage over time.
Okay.
Plus, the PNS has an anti-inflammatory effect throughout the body, including the brain. Conversely, there's some evidence suggesting that higher activity in the sympathetic nervous system, the SNS, your fight or flight system.
Yeah, right, the stress response.
Exactly. Higher chronic SNS activity might actually be detrimental. It's been linked to things like a greater decline in episodic memory or potentially even a higher risk of dementia down the line. So it really points to this subtle but significant role your autonomic balance plays in cognitive health and your readiness to learn.
Okay, that's HRV. What about ED? Electrodermal activity, that galvanic skin response thing. How's that useful?
EDA measures the continuous tiny changes in the electrical characteristics of your skin. It mostly reflects sweat gland activity, which isn't under your conscious control, but it is modulated by your sympathetic nervous system, the SNS. So it gives us pretty direct insights into your autonomous emotional regulation, your level of arousal, things like pain, fear, anger, even positive excitement. They can all cause changes in EDA.
So they aren't just abstract numbers. They're reflecting your emotional state, your arousal level. It sounds like a window into how you're actually feeling during the learning process.
Precisely. You've got it. Well, EDA has this history with things like polygraph tests.
Yeah, lie detectors.
Right. But in the context of learning, these measures allow AI systems to infer your psychological or physiological arousal in real time. Are you engaged, frustrated, bored, overwhelmed? This helps the system adapt the learning experience to your current state.
Tailoring not just to what you know, but how you're feeling about it.
Exactly, how your body is responding. But it's really crucial to acknowledge the complexities here. External factors like room temperature, internal things like medications, even where you place the sensor, they can all affect EDA readings.
Okay, so it's not perfectly straightforward.
No. And there's also a slight delay, maybe 1 to 3 seconds, between the stimulus and the skin response. So it's a powerful tool, yes, but it needs careful calibration and interpretation within the larger context of other data.
This whole vision, AI-enhanced, neuroscience-informed, truly personalized learning. It's incredibly exciting. It really feels like it could unlock a new era for education. But it also sounds like there must be some significant hurdles and some major challenges to overcome to make this a widespread reality. What stands out to you as the biggest ones?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the broader implications, the primary challenges really cluster around a few key areas. Ethical considerations, especially data privacy, and then fairness and scalability.
Okay, let's take privacy first, neurodata.
Exactly. The use of neurophysiological data, your brain activity, your physiological responses, it raises significant privacy vulnerabilities. I mean, one study we looked at actually assigned a pretty high risk assessment score, 0.76, specifically for embedded brain reading technology. So there's a strong, and I'd say urgent, call from researchers to strengthen neurophysiological data protection. We need robust safeguards to ensure this technology is used responsibly and ethically.
Protecting our most sensitive data, especially from our brains, that has to be paramount. What about fairness? Ensuring this doesn't just create new divides.
That's absolutely critical. Algorithmic bias is a known issue in AI, and we need to ensure these systems don't perpetuate or even worsen existing inequalities. Equity of access is another huge piece.
How so?
Well, the reality today is that AI-enhanced education, especially the sophisticated stuff using neurodata, remains unevenly distributed. There are gaps across gender, race, age, socioeconomic status, geography.
The digital divide, but maybe amplified?
Potentially, yes. While bias detection algorithms are getting better, improving fairness metrics, these socio-demographic factors still significantly influence learning outcomes. We absolutely need inclusive design principles from the ground up and scalable methodologies to make sure these powerful benefits actually reach all learners, not just a select few.
And then there's the sheer technical challenge. Scaling this kind of hyper-personalized system, potentially using real-time physiological data, to millions, maybe eventually billions, of learners worldwide. That sounds daunting.
It is. The scalability requirements are immense. Future systems need to achieve what's called linear scalability, meaning performance doesn't degrade as you add more users for potentially 100,000 or even more concurrent users.
While staying fast.
While maintaining incredibly fast performance. We're talking response times under 100 milliseconds, throughput maybe over 10,000 transactions per second. Just to give you a sense of the scale, processing the cognitive data for just 1,000 users might require around 5 TFL OPS of computing power.
Which is a lot.
It's a significant amount of computation, like running a mini supercomputer for every few thousand learners. So efficiency has to increase dramatically, but without sacrificing the accuracy that makes it work. This means tackling big challenges in memory management, network infrastructure, distributed databases. It's a major engineering lift.
Yeah, so that was Notebook LM. We gave it the source code for this code, which is available for you as well. Yeah, it looked at a bunch of tools, a bunch of sources online, 10 of them to be precise, generated this 22 minutes. I don't know where it picked up AI. Just a comment on that. If we are training a model, it will then have to be specific to the simulation, because in this case, we're generating synthetic data, so we can expand the data set, essentially run it for forever, keep generating the simulated stuff with different parameters, essentially simulating a human psychophysiology, a behavioral study, in this case, cognitive load for memory while listening to music, a memory task. If we were to train a model on this, it will have to be specific to this data set. So essentially, yeah, we'll probably be using something like fuzzy logic to see for each one of these 3 parameters. The respiratory rate doesn't seem to change much. Or maybe it does, it's just not very visible. Yeah, currently it's sitting at 20 RPM. If the task is easier, calm music 1 back, it's not the easiest task, then the breath RPM goes down to 14. Okay, so it does change. There's some noise in the recording, but that's okay. Actually, it's not okay because it's synthetic. It shouldn't happen, but it's the synthetic data is so good that it's actually mimicking what might happen in an actual study, where when you change between different tasks, you get an artifact. So it's actually quite realistic that way. So yeah, if we were to train a model based on this, it would be probably like fuzzy logic here. We probably should do more. We could actually use Notebook LM. Yeah, if you just gave it fuzzy logic, well, in biomedical data science, what notebook LM be able to make the link. So it's searching for sources, found another 10, medical diagnosis and fuzzy systems, theory and healthcare application, fuzzy logic. Yeah, so they seem to be all relevant. Fuzzy logic versus traditional AI, five best key differences. That's an interesting one. Application of data mining and soft computing in bioinformatics, and that's including fuzzy logic. So we'll import all those. We now have 20 sources, and we'll delete current audio. So that's a notebook LM interface. We started off the JavaScript for this web application, including the text below it, which is running on our website. You can go check it out, play with it. It's a simulation of a behavioral study during which your memory is being tested. It probably will struggle loading these 3 PDFs. We'll let it run for a bit, see how we go. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. So we have these 3 simulations that we released today. All 3 are available on BioniChaos.com. They should be up top. So we have this interactive physiological signal visualization that we just heard about. We have an interactive TMS simulator and an action potential game, which we will touch on later on.